The Fantasy Footballers' 10th anniversary Megala Show will be held right here in Los Angeles at the Palace Theater on Saturday night, August 24th. If you are in the area, get tickets available at ballerslive.com. Visit thefantasyfootballers.com for more information on how you can get their fantastic podcasts on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Jason Moore and Mike Wright of the Fantasy Footballers are here on the program. Good to see you, gentlemen. How are you? Getting ready?
Yes. Yeah, we're ready for football.
Okay.
This is the time where stuff's going crazy for us. And, I mean, we always say everyone's undefeated right now. So
yes.
the buzz in the air is you can feel it.
Okay. So our questions are always the same, but I need to throw out there. Most people, do you find play PPR leagues, or they do not play PPR leagues?
The majority are in some form of PPR. I think the standard, even though it's called standard, is kind of dying. All the leagues that we try to play in and do are half PPR.
Okay.
I feel like it doesn't overvalue the whole like screen for 0 yards thing, but you still get value for the passing in the NFL. That is a passing league now.
Okay, so that should inform everybody about the questions that I'm about to ask. First overall pick is uniformly Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
No doubt in your mind.
He laps the field. It's one of those, whenever you've got anyone within a position that gaps second place, and predictably so. I mean, if he's on the field, he's going to be the number one.
Okay, so McCaffrey is the number one guy.
Yeah.
Our son, Cooper Eisen, has a second overall position on Sunday. And for all the second overall position players out there, you would choose who?
So, I mean, we always recommend kind of know where you're going with your draft. Like,
what does that mean?
As in, like, players in the middle rounds, which positions do you feel stronger about? Like, there's a group of wide receivers that I like in this area, so I know that I will get some of them. Well, then maybe I'm going to start with Brees or Bijan at the number 2, or maybe there's running backs that I like later.
For 13-year-olds who might not have that mentality of looking down the road,
you just want the
mapping
name
out 6th-round draft strategies.
Dude, this is what you got to do. You got to get into the weeds.
I'm going Tyreek there.
Okay,
it's between him and CeeDee, but one of them is playing football right now, and that's a big tiebreaker for me. I like when my guys
compared
to
not playing,
not practicing, not being on the field. But
I think that seals it for Cooper, Suze, that because he's thinking Tyreek. Mm-hmm. That's what he's been talking to us about for 2 reasons. One, he had Bijan last year, and he's got
the burns.
Well, I get what he's got BTSD. He's got Bijan.
But Arthur's gone now.
I understand that, but he just. You know how it works.
Yes.
How often do you choose a player first overall in your draft? Not just number 1 overall, but use a first-round pick in consecutive drafts after they have sorely disappointed you.
0%. 0%. You just can't. You can't do that. We're humans.
The Christian McCaffrey years after the 2 back-to-back years of season-ending injury, and we had to be on the mics like. I would still you had to talk quietly of like I would still take Christian McCaffrey number 1, and everyone's no, he's a bum, he's always hurt, like, but he's a really good player. And then guess who's an Iron Man now? Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and so the other choice that he wouldn't make second overall that you mentioned, Mike, and again I don't know if it's his mother's influence or he's for being a Patriot fan, he just won't trust a Jet.
It's not a bad way to go.
He just won't. But I said to him, and this has nothing to do with my upbringing or any way, shape, or form. Brees Hall had 1,000 yards rushing last year in the dumpsterest of dumpsters, the fieriest of dumpsters. And but I think Tyreek would be the way to go, right? Certainly, if you're in a PPR league, you got to do something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think so. And the next pick that's going to come back around to him, there's still some really good running backs there. Devon Achane is there. Isaiah Pacheco is there.
You would use the 19th overall pick in a draft on Devon Achane.
I would, but probably not if I went Tyreek first. Two Dolphins, they're both not going to score on the same play, but that is a player I'm targeting there personally. I like Devon Achane. He is risky. He's smaller. He's undersized, could get injured, but he's also one of those rare guys that if he gets the volume, he could break fantasy. He could be one of those guys that's like, oh man, you just ask yourself every time when you're playing a matchup and you look at the other team's players and you go, oh no, that guy that you just don't want to play against. And to me, I think Devon Achane will develop into that type of player where you're like, he could put up 40 points this week.
Mike, give me a name of a player similar to that second, third round running back, wide receiver that some folks might say you're overdrafting, but you believe in, and that's a good spot. Certainly, since in a snake you might not have another shot at, you might overdraft in that spot because you're not going to be picking again till like what 30, 40th overall,
right. Yeah,
like
for me, that guy is Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. I think we all universally agree and love the Houston Texans, as you can see from where their wide receivers are all being drafted, and Stroud is last I saw was the 5th quarterback going in ADP, which is that's a real big jump for a player who hasn't completely shown it. Especially compared to Jordan Love, who was better than Stroud last year for fantasy, and yet Jordan Love is left as the QB 10 or so. But for me, Nico was one of those players that when we're watching them play in his first couple of years where there's nothing going on, you see the tiny glimpses of it and you hold out the hope. We always compare it to when Robert Woods was on the Buffalo Bills and nothing was happening for him. And you're like, there's something there. There's magic with this player. He just needs to get into the right situation. Robert Woods goes to the Rams, becomes a fantasy superstar for a few years. I have the belief that Nico will remain the number one. I mean, they gave him that big bag of money. They didn't have to. It was smart, in my opinion, because now they don't have to play this game that all the other superstar wide receivers are playing right now. They said, hey, Nico, here's enough money. You take that. You come be our number one. We have huge concerns that does Stephon Diggs still have it of when the offense changed for Buffalo halfway through the year. He vanished. That was a vanishing in fantasy football that I can't remember, where an elite player is halfway through the year, doesn't get hurt, just stops producing, and it gets phased out of the offense. And we do like Tank Dell quite a bit on our show, but for me, Nico, I think, is locked in as the number one guy.
Who other than Achane is that guy for you then?
I would say Isaiah Pacheco he's locked into a 3-down role. Jerick McKinnon's not coming back. He's playing for a team in the Chiefs that I think are being undervalued. It's hard to think that the Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl winners, are undervalued, but they are.
Yeah.
You look at how many points the Chiefs offense has scored year after year after year.
It's not last year, which is maybe the reason why people would be undervalued.
Exactly. And L'Jarius Sneed not being part of the defense, I think is going to really help the offense just need to push it a little bit more. And the way that Andy Reid has talked about Pacheco in the passing game, he was asked, who's going to step up for Jerick McKinnon? He's like, Pacheco's, he's got every route. He's got the pass protections. He's got great hands. So if he can be a 3-down back for Mahomes, you go back to when you had a top 5 season for Kareem Hunt. I think that's in the cards for Pacheco.
Jason Moore, Mike Wright are the fantasy footballers who are here. Andy Holloway, part of the trio that will be out there in the 10th anniversary Megala show here in Los Angeles tomorrow night. Again, ballerslive.com for tickets if you're in the area. That scene from Braveheart where the horses are coming and they put up the sticks and he screams, hold. That's the way I draft a quarterback every single time.
Good for you.
I hear that in the back of my head, but I just want to storm to get to the middle of the battlefield every single time. Why hold on a quarterback? Why? Why hold?
The reason to hold and wait on a quarterback is to get other more valuable positions. Obviously, in the NFL, quarterback is the most important position.
Yeah, and then Anthony Richardson pops a 40-point game on you and you lose. You know what I mean? And then Mahomes pops one or Stroud pops one. I mean, and invariably the quarterback will outpoint your best guy that you keep trying to amass in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds of a draft.
It's true, yes, but only one person's going to win the championship. So if you go with the early quarterback, your team's going to be good. But if you find the late quarterback who hits, when Lamar Jackson was drafted late and then he has his MVP season, if you find that guy late who hits, you become the one. You become the one putting the medal around your neck and buying big trophies and making fun of your friends. So, this year I think Kyler is super undervalued.
Kyler is why you wait.
Jaden Daniels as a rookie who is mobile, it's like he has more experience than Anthony Richardson does playing football. Despite the fact that it's year 2 for Anthony Richardson, and he's a 10th rounder. He's being drafted where Anthony Richardson was being drafted last year.
So you're saying to me, I should keep on amassing running backs, wide receivers, and a tight end, and hold off, and then start Jaden Daniels and put my entire fantasy football strategy into the hands of a rookie quarterback?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's supply demand. I mean, everyone, no matter how your league works, you're playing 2 running backs, you're playing 2 wide receivers. Sometimes you're playing more of those guys.
Right, sure.
And then as long as we're not talking super flex, that's a completely different strategy. Most casual leagues out there, it's 1 quarterback. I play 1, I play 2, 3 wide receivers. So I need to stockpile those guys. I have to have depth there. And then on top of that, we know 40 plus quarterbacks. Every year it'll be, probably around 42, 43 quarterbacks will put up at least one top 12 performance on a week, because quarterback is somehow still the easiest position to predict. I can see that this player is at home, this quarterback is at home, he's against a bad secondary, and he's gonna throw for 200 something yards and a chance at 2 touchdowns, and I can just grab that off the waiver wire and not spend my expensive picks. And that's only in the event that Kyler Murray doesn't work out, that Jared Goff, who has the first 4 games of Jared Goff's schedule are
juicy.
They are so delicious for fantasy football. And Matthew Stafford's first 2 games are great for fantasy football.
All right, so let me just jump in here then. So you're saying strategy. Go for running backs, wide receivers, grab your tight end for the first, say, 8 rounds of a draft, and you're watching the rest of your friends and competitors snag Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, and you're sitting there, right? So let's go to the quarterback list of players who you should then hold for and say you're going to win a fantasy draft by hitting this quarterback in the 9th, 10th round. You've already mentioned Jaden Daniels, and you've mentioned Kyler, and you've mentioned also Jared Goff as those guys.
Yeah.
Would you put Caleb Williams in that mix too?
No, I definitely wouldn't. I know I'm behind ADP on him. He's in the best situation we've ever seen a rookie quarterback come into. I can't ever remember it.
Did you see that throw to Roma Dunze in there?
Yes. It was awesome in the preseason.
And then he ran it in. After putting himself in the red zone personally with that throw.
Yes, he is going to be awesome. Will he throw a lot of touchdowns in his rookie year? Historically, no. And he might be the best prospect we've ever seen, and he might be in the best position, but you've got the greats. You've got Peyton Manning coming out and throwing a bunch of interceptions and not a lot of touchdowns.
Me Jaden Daniels, yes. Caleb Williams, no.
That's just because fantasy is broken with rushing. So when you're a mobile quarterback and you could put up 500, 600, 700 yards rushing, you get a point for every 10 yards. If you throw the ball, you get a point for every 25 yards. So it pushes those mobile quarterbacks up. Like I've been against this for as long as we've done this podcast. I hate the scoring, but I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm just trying to win.
All right, so let's keep going then. Aaron Rodgers, do you hold off and put him in there in the 9th round?
No, I don't think so. Not with that defense. The defense is so good.
So that means he's gonna be getting nice short fields. And there's Garrett Wilson. There's Mike Williams. So you say
is there Mike Williams?
Okay. What about Tua? Do you put him in?
Tua's interesting. He has come out just red hot to start the last 2 years, and then I don't know if it's a temperature thing, if it's a defenses start figuring some things out, but he over the second half has faded. But I don't mind going into my season with him as my plan.
That's what I'm saying. Again, these are the guys who might be available. 8th, 9th that you're holding. Deshaun Watson.
The injury scares me. He's still dealing with arm soreness at this point. We're 2 weeks away from football, so I'm not as in on Deshaun Watson there. He's kind of the boom bust. Maybe you catch gold, but maybe you're holding a stick of dynamite that that you don't get to throw.
Kirk Cousins.
Oh man, I mean it's for him and Rodgers too. We're talking about this on the show. The parallels of the Falcons and the Jets. It's absurd. Of two old quarterbacks on essentially new teams, because I'm not going to count last year for Rodgers. Both of them have Achilles tears. Both of them have the superstar running backs. Both of them have superstar wide receivers who have not
proven it,
have not come to fruition of what we expect them to become. So it's those two teams. It's going to be really, really fun to see how it shakes out, who can get it going.
So that's a no. That's a no. Don't do. If you're holding, you better not be left holding that bag at the end of the 8th or 9th round. If that's the quarterback you get, here's the money one.
Okay,
Dak.
Yeah, so Dak and Tua, those are great names to bring up. When I'm getting a player like that's good, they can put up massive points. I'm only going to look for those guys, and I'm going to specifically look for those guys if I was the guy who drafted Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb in the first round. Pairing your quarterback with your wide receiver called stacking.
Yes, sir.
It's just massive correlation, right? If your quarterback has a great day, it's probably because your wide receiver has a great day. It puts you over point thresholds to win more games. It's a real provable strategy that's helpful. So when I end up leaving the first round with one of those guys, later in the draft, I'm looking for Tua because I want to pair him with my Tyreek, or I'm looking for Dak if I want to pair him with CeeDee. If I didn't grab those guys, then I'm looking specifically for the mobile rushing quarterback like Kyler or Jaden.
Okay. Purdy, last one.
He is difficult, man.
He's undervalued for sure.
Yeah, he's.
So that's why I think he'll be available in your draft in the 9th round.
Yeah, he'll be available late. We have essentially a year and a half of him, and his touchdowns thrown per attempt, so his touchdown percentage, it's outrageously high, which there's outlier guys out there. Like Aaron Rodgers is, he's not a yardage guy, but touchdown percentage, he's always been incredible. Russell Wilson, when he was not this version of Russell Wilson, he was giving those seasons as well. It's hard to buy in to that because it takes a true outlier to hit those numbers, but he may just be that guy, or the Shanahan system may. So
don't take him in the 8th or 9th round.
Well, don't take him in the 8th or 9th because you can take him in the double-digit rounds.
Damn.
Yeah, and if you could let us know about Ayuk and that contract,
that'd be nice too.
I would love to have that knowledge.
Sir, we are all waiting. Let's just take this phone call real quick. Alex in Tampa, Florida, pop him up. Let's make one of our fans smarter. What's up, Alex?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh my God, Alex, you there?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Rich?
Yeah. What's up? You're on with the fantasy footballers. Ask them your question. Go for it.
Hey, man, long-time listener, first-time caller. It's good to be here.
Oh, good.
First off, want to give a big shout-out to my dad, Pops. Means the world to me. Big ups, Pops. Second off,
What's
Rich,
up, Pops?
I'm in a dynasty league here, and I just wanted to run my keepers by you and get some honest thoughts. Is that all right?
Yeah, we got time for a couple, Alex. What do you got?
Sounds good, Rich. My keepers right now are Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Swift, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, Kincaid, and A-Chain.
How many can you keep?
I can keep all the ones I listed. Now, what I'm leaving on the table is Mostert and possibly Jaden Reed, which has some buzz.
What, gents?
Yeah, it sounds like he named the right guys.
That's right.
You went.
Is this a question or is this just dunking on people?
I think this is flexing.
You think that's
what this is flexing? But you wait on hold a long time
I think
to
the
flex for a
question
big audience.
was with those guys, Mostert or Jaden Reed. That's what I think I heard.
Yes, that's pretty much.
Yeah, and if there's a dynasty league where you keep that many players, it's going to be Jaden Reed.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Alex. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for the time, buddy. There you go.
Good team.
I'm about to win my league. Can I call on the Rich Eisen Show and talk to the fantasy footballers? All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Let us know when the draft is. We're looking forward to being involved in that. Again, ballerslive.com to see these two gents along with Andy Holloway tomorrow night right here in Los Angeles at the Palace Theater for the 10th anniversary Megala Show. UltimateDraftKit.com to draft, to crush your draft. A portion of the sales there, of course, goes to St. Jude's. Thanks for doing that, gents. You're great to do that. Fantasyfootballers.com for more information. At the FF Ballers on the dreaded X, at Jason FFL on X, and Mike FF Hitman.
Yes, sir.
Well. Is that what happened to your pants?
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to get a little crazy.
Okay, there you go. Showing some knee. Thanks for the ladies appreciate that.
I got
Mike.
a good knee.
Okay, very good. I don't want to see about the right one. Thanks again. Appreciate that. Jason Moore, Mike Wright, thanks for coming here.
Thanks for having us.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern for free.